Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing what if RuPaul's Drag Race Season 13 was judged fairly. And I know this is going to be a controversial opinion, so just leave your thoughts below on the video and leave what you would judge every episode as in the comments below, and I'll probably reply and read your comments. So I'm not going to be judging the premieres, but I will be judging everything else. No, not the premiere, the pork chop episode. So for episode 2, I do agree with all of the judging. So we're just going to move on to episode 3, which I mainly agree with the judging, except I think that should have only been one low and they should have kept the 3 highs instead. Because I think Joey J did good. I think Kamara Hall was the only one while they've been low. So moving on, this is about to get controversial, but for episode 4, I did factor in runways. I did not just factor in the Maxi Challenge performance, which is what the judges usually do. And the person that had one of the best performances and a really good runway would win. And that person is Simone, of course. Welcome to the Flag Factory. And who I think should have been high is Tina Bonner. She really did good in that skit. Rosé, and then Candy Muse. And I know that's 3 highs. They're usually supposed to have 2 highs. But I thought all 3 of them slayed it and dissolved it. Now you may notice that there's 2 lows. And the 2 lows I've chosen is Elliot with 2 T's, because she had a mad performance in the acting challenge, and then a bad runway. And then this is where it gets controversial. I put Kamara Hall as low because I think she had the best runway of the night, and even though she had a terrible performance in the Maxi Challenge, I think her runway should have saved her. In the bottom 2, I put Denali Fox. She had a good runway, but I don't think it was one of the best that night. And then Joey J, who had a bad performance in the acting challenge and then a bad runway. And who I think would lose the lip sync is, of course, Joey J, unfortunately, because I do like Joey J. So, Joey J, sashay away. So, for the ball, this is a pretty common opinion, but I think Utica should have won, because Gottmil's final look, I think, was very bad. It was very basic and bare bones, in my opinion. And I put Gottmik and then Kamara Hall as high. And that might be controversial to put Kamara as high over Olivia Lux, but after seeing Kamara Hall's 2 looks that she would have won, I can't put her anywhere below high. So for the low position, I did put Elliot with 2 T's. I'm so sorry, Elliot. You've been low 2 episodes in a row, but I definitely don't think she should have been in the bottom 2. So in the bottom 2, I put Tamisha Iman and Lala Ree. And of course, Lala Ree would win that lip sync, not Tamisha Iman, unfortunately, because I think Tamisha had a lot of potential to start drama. Next episode is the Distomentary, and I'm pretty sure everyone agrees Olivia Lutz should have won that. For the highs, I did put Tina Bonner, and then the new person in the high position is Denali Fox, because I don't think Elliot did amazing. For the low position, I did put Utica, and that's because I don't think her expressions really fit the dance that they were going for. But I think the runway definitely saved them. I loved the runway. In the bottom 2, I did put Gottmik and Candy Muse. And I did say that Candy Muse would win that lip sync, not Gottmik. So sorry, Gottmik stands. Next episode is the Bossy Rossi. And I said Olivia should have won. I think her expressions were amazing. And even if she only had one line, she killed every part of her role. For the highs, I put Simone and Denali, both of which were safe originally, I believe. They had the two best runways of the night, in my opinion. And Denali's runway will go down in history. And that's why I put Denali as high instead of Simone. So for the low spot, I did pick Utica. And in the bottom two, I, of course, put Kamara and Elliot with two T's. And I'm not really sure who would win the lip sync. But after seeing what Kamara would have won, I think that would have limited her movement a little bit. So I think Elliot would have won the lip sync. Next episode is Social Media the Musical. And of course, I think Rosé should have won, and I believe she did eventually. Rosé really killed that and took advantage of every single opportunity that she had. And for the high spots, I did put Olivia Lux and Utica. I was debating having a double win between Utica and Rosé, but I decided not to. And that's just because I think Rosé did very, very well. And I think that was a more deserving double win later on. In the low spot, I put Elliot with two T's again. Poor Elliot. She's been low almost every episode so far. But in the bottom two, I did put Simone and Candy Muse. And I think that this was the best chance they had to get a double Shantae this season. And I'm not saying that Simone won the lip sync or that Candy Muse won the lip sync, but I think they both did very well. And I think if you asked anyone like who you think should have won the lip sync, I think they would be split between the two. And that's what I think a double Shantae is. So this episode is Snatch Game, and the person that I chose to win isn't the person who I think should have won, but I think they won because of our runway. That's what put them over the top, and that person is Simone. And in the high spots, I did put Rosé and Denali because I think they did very well. And in the low spot, I put Olivia Lux, and I think her runway is what saved her that night. So in the bottom two, I put Utica and poor Elliot with two T's. They've been in the bottom almost every week. But I did put Elliot in the bottom, and I think they would lose the lip sync. And they definitely did originally. So next week is the makeover, and I think we all know who should have won and did win. And those people are Simone and Utica. In the bottom two, I put Lala Ree and Tina Bonner because I don't think Lala Ree would do well, and Tina Bonner did horrible, and I feel like those are really obvious. In the low spot, I did put Olivia Lux, and as Rosé would say, she will forever be known as Olivia Sucks. No, I'm kidding. But I did put Candy Muse and Rosé in the high spots, and Denali as safe, not because I think Denali would do well, but because I think everyone else would do worse. And the person who I don't think they would lose the lip sync, but I think they would go home by default because they've been coasting the entire season so far, and I don't think they've even placed high yet. That person is Lalaurie. So this week is the commercials, and as you can probably see just from the circles, I decided that this wouldn't be the double win episode, and that is because I don't think Simone's runway was that good. So I put Simone as high with Candy Muse, and I debated putting Candy Muse as safe instead of high because her runway was so terrible. But I'm not sure that Denali would do that good in this commercial challenge. The winner was Rosé, that's the winner I picked. In the low spot, I put Utica. And then in the bottom two, I did put Olivia Lux and Tina Bonner. And the person I chose to go home is Tina Bonner. This week is a roast, and as you can probably see already from my messy illustration, this is the week that I chose to have a double win. And the double win I chose is Candy Muse and Rosé. In the high spot, I put Denali, not because I think she would do well, but because everyone else did so terrible. In the low spot, I put Olivia Lux, and then the bottom two, I chose Simone and Utica, and I think Utica would lose the lip sync. Finally is that absolutely terrible acting challenge, Honey, I Shrunk the Drag Queens. The winner I chose was Rosé. In the high spots, I put Candy Muse and Simone, and that's one more high, but for the dramatic reveal, I won't say yet. So I was struggling debating whether Denali Fox or Olivia Lux should be cut this episode, and after a lot of debating, especially because Denali had only placed high a lot and hadn't won that many times, she had only won episode 2. It was really hard for me to decide, but at the end, I decided that Olivia Lux would go home, not Denali. So I spun the wheel to decide who would be lip syncing against each other, and the first people to lip sync against each other were Candy Muse and Simone. And I think Simone would win this lip sync by default, not because I think Candy did bad, but because I think Simone did good. In the next lip sync, we are left with Rosé and Denali. And the person who lost this lip sync is obvious. It's Rosé. That was the loser of lip sync. And then for the final winner, it was a hard decision, but I did decide that Simone was the better choice to win. I'm so sorry Denali stands. She did not end up winning the season. But yeah, that's the end of this. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave your thoughts on the video below, what I can change, what I can improve. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.